Here's how I see in terms of how I rate the trilogy. I mean, I'm not normally one to try and put stuff in order because I'm usually like, everything equally. But for me, part one is the very best, simply because, and I know someone will prove me wrong on this at some later stage, but before part one, there was no time travel movie like that before. And Michael J. Fox says it best. It's a bit of everything. It's a bit of time travel. It's a bit of action, adventure, romance, a little bit of suspense. It wasn't just restricted to one specific genre.
No.
It worked on so many levels. Part two, I mean, obviously they actually go to the future for a change, but probably for only like about the third of the movie. And I like, in the original script, they were supposed to go to the 60s.
Yes, they were, yeah.
To see Marty's father in college. But they thought, why not work around the first movie? And it is interesting how they actually got to work around it. Someone needs to put their speakers on again. But the thing that were seriously noticeable in terms of differences, was the fact that, one, they had replaced the original Jennifer because, for whatever reason, she wasn't available for the second movie, even though she looked absolutely identical to the original. And trouble is, by that point, it had been 4 years, and you could see Michael had aged a little bit. I think that was the only thing that might throw people off a little bit.
A little bit, because I read on Wikipedia that the reason Claudia Wells didn't do part two was because she had family problems and she was obliged to stay with family rather than carry on working. That's what Wikipedia says. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And as for part three, I mean, I know you, as you said, you tend to like part two the most, but part three was kind of the movie series swan song, and it went out in a good way because most people love westerns, and I tend to like that one because if for once history didn't repeat itself too much for Marty, because in the first two movies he gets in a scuffle with one of Biff's relatives or distant relatives in the future and manages to escape out of it. But this time, he doesn't have the advantage of a skateboard or having a hoverboard from Mattel, which, by the way, Mattel, 5 years from now, we want that hoverboard.
Yes, 2015.
Yes, we do want that goddamn hoverboard.
Especially those power laces. Now that would be handy.
Yes, those would be awesome.
And of course, and here's the thing. I mean, Random brought this subject whilst we were watching part two last night. It's when that Pepsi appears out of the counter in part two. It's like, how the heck do you open that bottle?
Because, Marty didn't actually open it, did he? He just sort of just looked at it and was like, huh?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
and you get
might have used a laser thing to open it up.
And you get like those CG versions of Ronald Reagan, Michael Jackson, and the Ayatollah. And
yes.
Ooh.
But even though that a lot of the stuff they did for the future was pretty unrealistic, I mean, as you said, we're 5 years away from it now, and I don't think flying cars are going to be happening, but it was nice that they tried to make the future a happy place.
Yeah.
And sort of make it look bright and colourful and look like it would be cool to live in the future. And they didn't go for the yeah.
And also, Jaws 19, ambitious much?
Shark still looks fake.
Yes. Good lord.
Yeah.
But actually, I do think we have flying cars, but not in the sense
no.
depicted.
Yeah.
But mind you, I think in terms of, this is just like a pointless minor note, in terms of the fashion, when you look at stuff that they wore in 85 and then compare it to now, there's not a great deal of difference.
Not
if anything,
really, no.
Today is actually copying what the 80s did some 23 years ago. You're actually seeing guys that are wearing pink and yellow, color coordinated sneakers. And I'm like, red and blue you could get away with, but pink and yellow, guys, no. Just no. Okie dokie.
Yep.
Like I said, the shark looking fake. It's like even if it was done today, it still wouldn't look that great anyway. But
I wouldn't look great at all.
no, but it's like I said, fashion sense back then. There's not really a great deal of difference between then and now. So that
Not really, no.
the only thing is people aren't wearing quote unquote life preservers like they did in '85.
Dork thinks he's going to drown.
Yeah. Hard to think in amongst Biff's crew, you see a very young Billy Zane back there. Of course, who went well to do Titanic. Well, they got to get their start somewhere.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And of course, I think it was just some of the things that they went and said in the '50s, which of course relevant to the time. You see, Mayor Goldie Wilson, says he's going to change the town, and of course Mike goes, "Yeah, he's going to be mayor." He goes,
Mayor.
And of course you just see Lou go very questionably. He goes, "Yeah, colored mayor, that'll be there." I'm like, "I'm not touching that.
Yeah.
I'm not touching that." It's like, no. But the trouble is, you could say sort of things like that. But I mean, yeah, if you try and say that in a movie today, you get crucified for it. But,
Pretty much, yeah.
But back then, it was relevant to the times. It's like today how they're planning to rescreen the classic Tom and Jerry cartoons from the 30s and 40s, but paint out the cigarettes and paint in lollipops.
Are you serious?
I wish I wasn't.
Ugh.
Oh God.
Yeah, don't even get me started
Oh, well.
on that.
Yeah, that'll be for another time.
I mean, it's like another example. When Fox Kids in America acquired the rights to screen the original Thunderbirds marionette series over there, not only did they edit out every single scene where the characters were smoking, but they redubbed all the episodes, shortened it down to 30 minutes, and even changed the theme tune.
I hate networks sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Me as well.
Oh well.
I mean, not being funny. If you're going, obviously, if you do brand new shows today, you don't have, images of characters smoking because it, sends the wrong image to kids today. Today I get that, but that was relevant to the times back then because no one knew the dangers of it back then.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
No, you go.
Wasn't there some rumor that they were going to do a fourth movie?
Right. There has been this word on the wire that has been circulating all over the internet for a while about the possibility of a forefront. Now, whilst I would be interested just to see what they could possibly do and how they could possibly work Michael and Marty, as Marty into the film, not being funny, it's just like one of those things. It's like, you also know it's Hollywood running out of ideas.
It is. Definitely.
Like I say, as intrigued as I would be to see a fourth movie, I think until we hear something solid, it's just pure speculation. I mean, if they really wanted to go there, why not, instead of continuing from where it went off, because not being funny, Michael can't really do it because of the fact he's suffering with severe Parkinson's disease, even though when he's on his meds, he can do a scene flawlessly. You've also got the added fact that, Christopher Lloyd is in his 70s now.
He is.
He's not getting any younger. And not being funny, if in terms of the time vehicle, you can't do with anything but the DeLorean. You cannot do that.
No.
So I think
you cannot do it without
logistically, if they're going to even think about making another movie, they might as well restart the whole thing. And there in our luck, we'd have Shia LaBeouf as Marty McFly and Willem Dafoe as the Doc.
Don't.
The irony is, you could see Willem Dafoe enjoying that a little too much. Because if anything, is to go by from his performances as Norman Osborn when he goes completely schizo, it's like you could see him doing that as the Doc.
No, it's best if they just leave one alone, really. There's no need for a fourth one. Just leave the trilogy as it is, because it's flawless as it is, really.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep, I'd have to agree.
Mm-hmm. God.
I think it was when some of the things they did change. Like in part 2, you didn't see Crispin Glover as George McFly. The reason for that is that he was actually asking for twice as much as what the Doc and Marty were getting. I'm like, not being funny, buddy. You're just a supporting actor. You might have been a pivotal character in the first movie because you're the thing that glued the whole, time frame together to make sure that Marty would still be born. But not being funny, in the second movie, you weren't that great.
Yeah, I mean, with Crispin Glover not being in the second one, that's what gave Bob Gale the idea. Let's create a alternate universe where George McFly is dead.